Hey everyone, Ryan here at etrailer. Today on our 2016 Jeep Wrangler, we're going to be showing you how to install the Roadmaster towed vehicle battery charge line kit. Let's check this out first real quick and talk about what it does. So whenever you're flat towing your Wrangler down the road, what can happen, the battery in it can get depleted. You know, it just slowly gets drained over time from some of the accessories that are still pulling power off the battery, like your supplemental braking system, for example. And so having a charge line kit like this one here, what it's going to do is more or less trickle charge or maintain your battery. That way it's always topped off. All your components, the electrical components, are going to have sufficient amperage and voltage to operate correctly. And just as important, once you get to your destination and you unhook, you have the confidence knowing that when you turn the key in the Jeep, it's going to start up. The way that the charge line kit is going to work is it's going to get power from your motorhome 7-way, that auxiliary circuit. The vast majority of motorhomes or RVs are going to have that already there, and that's what it's used for, you know, for other types of accessories to power them and everything. If you have an older coach and you don't have this 7-way on it, you can't always use the motorhome side kit. Roadmaster offers it to provide us with that power back here, but like I said, a lot of you probably ain't gonna have to worry about that. You already have it. But that 12-volt power is gonna run through your cable into your 6-way round connector. You will need this style of connector, and the charge line, the wire, is gonna be hooked up to the back of this. And so power will flow up that wire through the circuit breaker here, and this circuit breaker is just designed to help protect the system from shorts or anything like that. If an issue were to occur, trip the breaker, kill power. So it'll go through there and into the battery, charging it up when you're flat towing. To compare this kit to another one, let's say for example Demco makes one, really can't go wrong with either one. They're both going to work out fine and get the job done. I think the slight advantage Demco might have in this situation is the length of wire that they give you. It's a little bit longer than the Roadmaster bundle. And I say that because with the Roadmaster one, you really have to be conscious on how you route your wiring down. You know, if you're not paying attention to that, you can come close to falling short for everything to reach. So just keep that in mind during the installation. But ultimately, really no reason not to use a battery charge line kit. It's cheap insurance, you know, to keep your battery topped off, knowing everything's gonna have the power it needs to work properly. As far as the installation goes, not bad at all. Like I said, you mount up your breaker, put a wire to your battery, one wire down to the 6-way. So it really shouldn't give you too many issues or take a bunch of your time. You know, but if you're gonna do this yourself, hang around, we'll go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation for our charge line, we're gonna be working underneath the hood, over here on the passenger side. And very first thing that we wanna do, you can take the bundle of red wire that they give you, take one end of it, drop it straight down. That way it'll come out on the bottom side of our Jeep. Our red wire just runs along the back of our bumper, and I have it coming out here where our bracket is for the connector plug. And these other wires that I have, these are for our tow bar wiring or a diode wiring. And I like to do these the same time that I'm doing my charge line and vice versa, because they all get hooked up to the same connector plug. It'll save you a little bit of time there. But what I like to do first is take the rubber boot, we'll put that on, put our wiring through there. We'll just focus on our charge line for now. Tuck these out of our way. So what you'll do is strip the end of the insulation back, give that wire a good twist, and if you look on the back of our connector plug, the terminal that we're going to be using will be the one there in the middle. So I just back that set screw out almost all the way. Kind of a pain to get back in if you remove them completely. And that wire is going to drop down in there. Now you might have to cut the wire a little bit short because we still have some copper wiring exposed hanging out of the terminal, and I'd prefer that not to be the case. So I'm just going to take a little bit off there. So now this will go in. We'll just come back with our screwdriver and snug this down. While I was right here, I also hooked up my tow bar wiring, and eventually, once I know everything works electrically, I'll come back in here and apply some silicone just to seal everything up, help prevent corrosion. But for whatever reason, when I'm doing the rest of my install, if I need to get back in here, I don't want a huge mess to deal with. So for now, I'll just put that into position and bolt it down. Back up in the engine compartment next to our battery, we can mount up our circuit breaker. So I got it started. Just use these self-tapping screws that they give you. And we'll just run this other one in. Then from there, go ahead, these nuts, and get these removed and set off to the side for now. I cut our red wire to length. It's going to attach to the copper colored post there on our breaker, and be conscious of how you route this and everything because you generally have just enough wire to complete this installation. But with that said, I stripped the insulation back just like we did on the front when we went to hook this up in the connector plug. But this time on this end, you can take a ring terminal, one of the small ones. You'll put that over the bare end of the wire, and then crimp it down. Take this end, slide it on like that. Take one of the nuts, come back with a I believe it is a 3/8 socket, and we'll just snug this down. You don't have to, crank down on these by any means. Just snug it up. And then for this end, what you can do, take the remaining portion of the wire, crimp on a small terminal and a large one. The large one's going to go to the battery post. Small one will go to the silver colored post there on our breaker. So we'll get this tightened down. That large ring terminal can get hooked up to the positive battery post. You have a bunch of different options here. It don't really matter which one we use. So I'm just going to go with this one. Remove this nut with a 10mm socket. Put that terminal in place. And it just simply tightens back down. With all that hooked up, that's really all there is to it. And we're not going to have to worry about our battery going dead whenever we're flat towing our Jeep down the road. But with all that said, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster towed vehicle battery charge line kit on our 2016 Jeep Wrangler.